The silent descent. The mission was intended to be a quick reconnaissance, just a standard patrol through a remote sector of the galaxy. The crew, a team of seasoned soldiers and engineers, were selected for their skills in survival and problem-solving. Captain Celine Greaves led the crew of Vanguard, the galaxy's most advanced stealth ship. Their task was simple: to investigate a mysteriously inactive space station called Necros, abandoned for centuries, with no records of its previous inhabitants or what had happened there. However, the eerie silence as they approached Necros unsettled the crew. A station that large, once a hub for interstellar trade and military operations, should have been teeming with life, or at least signs of its previous occupants. But instead, it hung motionless in the dark vacuum of space, the only sound being the hum of their ship's engines. As they docked, Captain Greaves issued orders for the crew to remain on high alert. Inside, the station was a labyrinth of decaying corridors and broken technology. The air felt thick, and there was a palpable sense of unease. The crew ventured deeper, unaware of the malevolent force hidden within the station's walls. As they entered the central control room, they found a large sealed chamber, once the heart of the facility. The energy readings were unusually high, signaling that the station's power source had never fully deactivated. It was here that they discovered the first signs of what the station truly was. Necros was not just an abandoned station. It was a prison, a tomb for some of the most dangerous entities the galaxy had ever known. But this was just the beginning. Deep within the prison, something stirred. The echoes of the fallen as the soldiers explored the abandoned prison's cell blocks. They encountered strange, unsettling phenomena. Holographic remnants of the past, strange distortions in the air, and the unnerving feeling of being watched. The deeper they went, the more the air itself seemed to pulse with energy, like a heart beating beneath the station. Captain Greaves ordered the crew to continue searching for answers, but no one was prepared for what they would find. They came upon an old prison cell block, its walls covered in strange markings and symbols, ancient scripts from civilizations long gone. Yet among the eerie silence, the crew began to hear something, the faint sound of whispers. At first it was dismissible, just a trick of the mind. But as they ventured deeper, the whispers became louder, more distinct. They were not just random sounds. They were voices, the souls of those who had been trapped here for eons. And then, the spectral figures appeared. They were not entirely human, not entirely alien, but something in between. Their bodies were twisted and deformed, their faces contorted, in eternal agony. These were the prisoners who had once inhabited Necros, but instead of dying in peace, their souls had fused with the station's energy, becoming an integral part of its cursed machinery. They were bound to the prison, eternally trapped in an endless cycle of torment. The soldiers fought back, but it was not easy. The specters attacked with incredible strength, dragging the crew members into the walls, their bodies contorting and screaming in the same agony they had witnessed. It wasn't just the station's architecture that was alive. It was the very air, the very walls, and the very prison itself, feeding on the souls of those unfortunate enough to come too close. The crew realized they weren't just intruders. They were now part of the prison's nightmare. The awakening of the power. The crew began to understand that Necros wasn't simply a holding facility. It was a living, breathing entity. The prison's core wasn't just a power source. It was the heart of the prison's malevolent force. The energy readings, which had once been harmless, were now pulsing with growing intensity. The power was reaching critical levels, and it was clear that the station was waking up. The prisoners' souls weren't merely stored, they were being used to feed the power, creating an unstable, dangerous force that threatened to consume everything. But the most horrifying realization came when they discovered the creature, the very embodiment of the prison's energy. At first, they thought it was a machine, an automated guard left behind by the station's creators. But the closer they got, the more they realized it was something far worse. It was a being made entirely of raw energy, a creature born from the souls of the prisoners and the power of the prison itself. It was massive, its form constantly shifting, as though it were made of pure, writhing darkness. The soldiers tried to fight back, but their weapons had no effect. They realized they had no way to destroy the creature, because it was not just an enemy, it was the prison's will, and it wanted them trapped inside forever. The final stand as the situation grew more dire, Captain Greaves ordered the crew to split up into 2 teams. One team would attempt to reach the control room and shut down the prison's power core. The other would hold off the spectral entities that were now flooding the station, growing in numbers as the prison's energy surged. The battle raged for hours, the crew fighting desperately to survive. The prison itself seemed to fight back, the walls shifting, new doors opening and closing, and traps activating, each more deadly than the last. The creature at the heart of the station grew stronger, feeding off the souls of the fallen soldiers. But amid the chaos, Lieutenant Riker discovered something, an ancient alien weapon hidden deep within the control room. It was a device capable of manipulating the energy of the prison. Riker realized it was their only chance to stop the creature, but to use it, he would have to get close to the heart of the station, a task that would require him to face the creature itself. The collapse. With Riker armed with the alien weapon, he made his way through the twisted, collapsing corridors of Necros, dodging the attacking specters and the ever-growing energy creature. He finally reached the heart of the station, where the creature awaited him, its eyes burning with the knowledge of his arrival. Riker knew this was it, the final confrontation. The energy creature lashed out, attempting to consume him, but Riker held his ground. With a deep breath, he activated the alien device. The weapon hummed to life, and a wave of energy surged through the station, causing the creature to scream, in agony as its form began to destabilize. The station began to tremble, and the walls cracked, a massive explosion shaking the entire structure. The energy from the collapsing prison began to radiate outward, threatening to engulf everything in its path. Riker had done it. He had stopped the creature, but at what cost? The last hope with the prison collapsing around them, the survivors of Necros raced to the nearest escape pod. The shockwave from the station's destruction was immense, but they managed to escape just in time. As they watched Necros implode, in the distance they knew they had saved the galaxy from annihilation. But there was no sense of victory, only the crushing weight of what they had witnessed. The horrors of Necros would forever haunt them, the souls of the fallen prisoners, forever echoing in their minds. But they had triumphed. They had stopped the prison's dark force from spreading across the galaxy. Humanity's survival had been secured, for now. As they made their way back to Earth, Riker looked out at the vast expanse of space. The universe was vast and its mysteries were endless. But in the shadows of the galaxy, something still lurked, waiting. And the crew of Vanguard knew that the fight for survival was far from over.